Well, 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 look who's here. I'm Mimi Mermaid, and I'm so very happy to see you. Do you want to read another story together? This is the third in the Sasha and Friends first series, and it's all about how little Rolo, the baby turtle hatchling, met his mother. These stories are all about my Reef friends. And look, there's some of them together on the first page. These stories are always so full of surprises. Let's go and enjoy them. Oh, look, there's the quiz. And you know how much I love quizzes. This time, there are 6 questions, and the answers are on the back page. What fun! And you're going to be able to find the answers to the quiz in the companion video. And look, there's little Rolo lying on his back. He doesn't really look stuck, does he? He looks pretty happy and relaxed. Maybe he's playing a game. Let's find out. Now, look at this image. Oh, it's so nice to see it again. I love how all the gulls are lined up together like little soldiers. And look at the one looking right at us and squawking. And can you see a pelican? A little tiny pelican way out in the surf. I think it might be Petey. He's very tiny there, but you can see him if you're very clever. Now, this page is something very special. Here are fun facts about Legatha and her baby son, Rolo. There are fun facts that tell us that they are leatherback turtles and their shells are called carapaces. And don't forget, there's serious secrets too, so you can really get to know both Rolo and Legatha. So now there are fun facts about the teeny weeny little seahorse called Jacqueline and Dinny, who's a ghost crab. There are so many interesting facts and all the serious secrets that are so fascinating. You are meeting so many of my Reef friends and getting to know their species, their personalities, and their interesting stories. So by the end of this series, you'll know them all, and they'll be your friends too. Look, I did tell you this book was full of surprises. And here's another one. The collector cards for some of the creatures. Just some, mind you. There's lots more. If you collect them all, you can play games with them that we've designed, and you can play memory games with very special petal memory tiles, and you can also play trumps with our specially designed character cards too, where you learn even more facts about all the creatures, and you have to compare them to others' cards so you try and win all the cards from your competitor. It's a very clever learning game and it's so much fun. I play it whenever I have someone to play against. Most of the time I win, but even if I don't, I love the challenge and I always congratulate the other winner. That's the right thing to do, even if you're a mermaid like me. Okay, so now we have the beginning of this story. How did Rolo meet his mother? Written by Bonnie Asleep and magnificently illustrated by Hayden James Bone. This story is told by Rolo himself, as of course he's the best one to explain what happened to him right from the beginning. Rolo explains that he's a leatherback turtle and he hatched on a beach near our reef in Australia, on the Great Barrier Reef. And now, he says, he spends his time very happily swimming around the South China Sea. His mother is Lagatha, and she lays lots of eggs safely hidden inside the very same sand dune on the very same beach at about the same time every few years. Imagine finding that same sand dune out of so many on the beach. That's fascinating. After she lays the eggs, then 60 days later, the little hatchlings burst out of their shells. Once they hatch, every little hatchling has to scurry to get to the ocean. But there's a huge problem, says little Rollo. There's never anybody there to help us get to the ocean. So, we've all been very unprotected, and many of us got eaten by crabs and lizards and birds along the way, says the sad little Rollo. But when Rollo hatched, the entire clutch of hatchlings had the kind one-legged Seymour the seagull looking after them all. Seymour had regularly watched Lagatha as she buried all her eggs, and then she'd swim out to sea, never knowing what had ever happened to any of her babies. Then one day, Seymour was playing with his baby gulls when Lagatha slowly appeared over one of the sand dunes. She'd come back, and it was time to lay more eggs. She was very tired from all the effort of moving up the beach and up the sand, up the dune, and as she watched Seymour, she felt very sad. Suddenly she felt very lonely, and she wished that she could play with her babies. But her species didn't work that way. Her job was to lay all her eggs and let them hatch themselves, just like she had done. But it still made her feel very sad. And she wiped away a tear with her long front flipper. Oh, Seymour saw this, and it touched his heart. Right then and there, he decided he was going to help. Now, he didn't know how he was going to help, but he knew there must be a way. Now, Seymour knew that many of his gulls and many of the other gulls ate many of the hatchlings, but now that was something he could change. So he decided his flock was going to protect the baby hatchlings rather than eat them. So the next hatching was a very busy time, and all the hatchlings were protected all the way to the ocean by the caring gulls. Seymour was so proud of them all. Well, maybe not all the birds, but that's another story. It's a story about P.T. the pelican. And we have to read that one together, don't we? But then something terrible happened. All the big fish and some of the pelicans started eating all the baby hatchlings greedily after the gulls had protected them so carefully to get down to the ocean's edge. The seagull pack was very sad. They had done their best, but it just wasn't enough. The hatchlings needed more protection. So Seymour thought hard, and he decided to talk to Sasha, the princess of the reef. Would she be able to help protect the hatchlings after they got into the ocean? Well, Seymour didn't know, but he had to try. Now, Sasha listened very carefully to Seymour, and then she asked a very wise question. She said, just why should she help? Now, Seymour wasn't expecting that. And he said, well, he wanted to give Lagatha good news when she came back to lay her next clutch of eggs. That was his reason. And all the seagull pack nodded in agreement because they all felt the same way. But the clever Sasha was now the leader of the reef. And she just couldn't do favours for any reef creature, because soon she knew they just wouldn't appreciate it. They would just assume it, and they would probably become cranky when she stopped being so generous. The wise Sasha knew that it was always wisest to create an exchange. So something given and then something received was always the wisest way to do things, thought Sasha. So Sasha was very kind, but she knew that she needed to have her own reasons to help. Okay, thought the seagulls, that's why she's our leader. She thinks things through really, really well, so no one creature is favoured over any of the others. They all nodded. They knew why she had been selected as leader of the reef. So Sasha said very wisely, I'll ask Lagatha myself when she comes back. And the beautiful Sasha disappeared with a flick of her tail. Soon, Lagatha couldn't wait to see Seymour, and she explained that she and Sasha had agreed on the perfect way to help each other. Lagatha would do a slow patrol around the damaged parts of the reef and check on the small fish numbers and let Sasha know if there are any problems. And in exchange, Sasha would protect all her hatchlings. Lagatha was so very happy, and she laid her largest clutch of eggs ever. But then, only a week before they were due to hatch, a human family arrived on the beach for a camping holiday. Oh no. And would you believe it? They set up their tent and their tent lights and their campfire right next to the sand dune where all the eggs were laid. Oh no, couldn't be worse. And then the worst thing of all happened. The baby hatchlings started to hatch. And instead of going towards the ocean, all the new baby hatchlings started going towards the campers and all their lights. Newborn hatchlings are programmed to always go towards the brightest light. And that's usually the moon and the moonlight on the water. But not this time. The brightest light for the baby hatchlings was actually the campers' fire. Oh no! Seymour was so shocked. He thought very quickly, and he raced down and scooped up a little baby hatchling in his beak, and he flew it straight down to the ocean, and he gently dropped the baby into the water. And then he squawked for all the other gulls to do the same thing. The humans looked very surprised because they knew that seagulls usually ate the baby hatchlings. So they quickly decided to help too. And it was a wonderful sight. Humans and seagulls all rescuing the baby hatchlings. Finally, humans and seagulls together were very happy to see all the baby hatchlings safely out into the ocean. And then they knew they were protected by Sasha and all the ocean creatures too. Now, the funniest thing about this hatchling is that every baby turtle made it to the ocean, except Rollo. He'd been the first hatchling to emerge from his shell, and he took off as fast as his little body would move him, and he wore himself out, and he fell asleep right next to the human's tent. And when he woke up the next morning at dawn, he was lost and frightened, and he didn't know what happened, and he felt all alone. But the kind-hearted Seymour quickly found little Rollo, and he straight away began to look after him. So soon little Rollo was very, very happy. He played games with all the seagulls, and they always made sure he was very safe when he went swimming in the water, because he'd lost his instinct to take off into the ocean and his instinct to join all the other hatchlings. But luckily, he'd been saved, and he was very happy to live with the kind seagulls. Then, one day, Seymour told all the pack a secret, that they had a big surprise for Rollo. His mother, Legatha, was due back, and wasn't she going to be happy to know that all her hatchlings had been protected? And one very special surprise, that one little special turtle had been lost, but he'd been protected, and he was here on the same beach where she had laid his egg. Soon, over the top of a sand dune, came Legatha, travelling slowly, but that was about as fast as she could go because it was uphill. Then she saw Rollo, and she rushed over the top of the dune as fast as she could, speeding down to get to him. She couldn't believe her eyes, and she shed a tiny little tear from her crinkled little eyes. So that's how the baby hatchling Rollo met his mother Legatha on the same beach where she had laid all her eggs. And thanks to Seymour and the whole seagull pack, and thanks to Sasha and all the water creatures, that all the hatching had survived. And so now Rollo and Legatha swim together, and they swim all around the South China Sea, and they come back to their favourite hatchling beach every year for a visit, whether Legatha wants to lay her eggs or not. They love to spend time with Seymour and all the seagulls, and Sasha, and all of her protective creatures of the reef. Rollo knows that for very sure he's a very lucky turtle. Oh, that was such a lovely story, and so kind of Seymour to protect all the hatchlings and look after Rollo. And how clever of Sasha to work out a wise exchange to protect the turtles and all the other reef creatures, so that everyone has benefited. There are many more books in the first series about the Great Barrier Reef, and the fourth one is why Orla the orca used to swim alone. I have to find that one out, don't you? What fun! And look, there's the quiz answers on the last page, but as usual, we won't peek. And on the last page, look, there's more about the collector cards. I believe you get some in every book, and they peel off the page so you can collect and enjoy them. And if you love the stories, you'll really want the books to read for yourself. And you can order them through the website if you want to. You will love the collector cards, I promise you. They are very, very interesting. And don't forget, there are quite a few card sets, so you can play lots of games, and we've included instructions on special games inside the packs themselves. And by the way, there are also jigsaw puzzles and so many ways to enjoy and learn and play with our creatures. And there's a lot of downloadable free stuff too on our website. So go and check it out. And don't forget the absolute best thing. Hayden has created lots of teaching videos showing you how to colour in, just like he does. So you can download some free images from our website, or you can order the colouring book directly from the website. You won't be disappointed, as it's so much fun. And I've tried every single colouring in too, and I'm definitely getting better, and I'm learning how to do it all from Hayden's lessons. It's such fun. It's been so nice sharing with you again, and I can't wait until the next time. So this is Mimi the Mermaid saying bye, and make sure you enjoy all the beautiful sunsets wherever you live. I sure do. And maybe someday you'll sit with me on my rock and we'll share a beautiful sunset together.